Giddy up. Well, gentlemen, we are back for another episode of Southern Tulane, and I have to my right
DJ Seeley.
And tonight we have all the way from Coleman, Alabama, back with us for another stint is Mr.
Jeremy Johnson.
Woo!
What's happening, y'all? Welcome.
All right. Boom, boom, boom. It's been like 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Has it been 6 weeks?
It's been a minute, yeah.
Wow.
I think it's been 6 months for me.
Yeah, it probably has for you.
Well, I was banned off the show the last time I was down here for trying to talk about victories.
We have a way of doing things around here.
I know.
I mean, I will say, though, you got some airtime when we did our 2025 Indian review. I don't know if you saw that or listened to that episode, but you got some airtime.
Our obligatory commentary on Indians release.
That's right. Yeah, it was, let's see, what was the, not a quote, but pretty close to it. Victory sucked. They brought back a suckier bike to replace it. Now they have an Indian.
No, come on now. Please.
Polaris decided Victory wasn't doing it for them. So in 2011, they shut her, 16, they shut her down. Is that what it was? 17, somewhere along there?
Yeah, but they do have the Indian now. Like, did you guys saw the text I sent you earlier, that red and white one?
Yeah. I walked past a bunch of Indians the other day as I was perusing the motorcycle store.
Are we talking, or
No, I was at our local Indian dealer. Trying on a Ducati Panigale.
Ducati.
That sounds like a mouthful of pain pills. Something you need to chew up before you ride it.
I don't know.
My old back.
Pretty nice Olin suspension on it.
My back couldn't take it, dude.
So was it a crotch rocket?
Oh yeah, yeah. Panigale V4 S, 205 horsepower, 100 foot-pounds of torque.
What, on a 375-pound bike?
Yes, 375 pounds.
Yeah, I don't trust myself.
Those are they're 3 speeds.
These are 6.
No,
No,
just,
that one is.
No, just 3.
No.
Here, there, and gone.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Budding. So, Brad said the other day in the text message that if we, got a chance to ride his, we'd probably change our mind. And I mean, I wouldn't put myself in a position to change my mind. Like,
Don't ride it.
I'd be afraid. I ain't no lie that I would enjoy it and it would be the thrill, but I just know me. Like Morgan Wallen's song says, I know me.
Yeah. I
like them all.
Can't fault you for that.
I do. I like them all.
Well,
I did. So he's got the MV Agusta Brutale 1000, and I got to ride it a couple weeks ago. And man, it's a ride.
They get it on?
It's fun. It's fun.
Okay.
Very comparable specs to the Ducati. His is a naked sport bike, so
right.
Less some of the plastics, but yeah, I mean, it was a blast. I had a good time on it, so it's got me itching.
They go good straight. And fast?
Yeah, and like unbelievably easy to manipulate, lean, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine.
Super short wheelbase. You feel like you're sitting on top of the front tire. Nothing in front of you. It's wicked.
Yeah.
Much different than anything I'd experienced before.
Well, when your garage is full of 900-pound bikes, that changes the trajectory of how you ride, I guess.
Yeah.
So to speak. This will lead us off into our conversation, which is a recap of March Moto Madness 2025.
The mother of all ADV rallies.
Yes.
The most fun you can have on two wheels in the dirt.
I'd say it's pretty close.
Something like that.
So this will kind of lead off into it, I guess. But so taking the Pan America really for the first time for anything of significance. And I was 100% pleased. I had no complaints. Coming back, I did a lot of thinking, and I was very thankful that I was able to manage the bike. Didn't lay it down once, and was on a lot of different diverse terrain. The only thing that I didn't do, and I regretted, and I cannot believe, as much as I spent my childhood off-road cars and bikes, that I failed to let the air out of the tires. I could only imagine how much better it would have ridden in some of the gravel and things like that if I would have let it down to about 20, 25 pounds.
Yeah,
probably about 25
but
pounds.
if you would have did that, though, you would have had a check engine tire light on the dash the entire time.
Perfectly fine. It wouldn't have stopped running, though. But you're right. It would have illuminated and said, hello.
Yeah.
But no, it would have.
Good old electronics.
Yeah. But it was, and from what I understand, there's a process you can manipulate that to not let that happen. So, all right. So DJ, I'm gonna let you take off on this because this year was your second trip. So tell us a little bit about the first trip, a little bit about the whole origin of this puppy, and lead us into this conversation.
I may have come a little inadequately prepared for that question, but. Yeah, that was my second time up there. Me and a couple friends went last year, and it was cold. I mean, just get up in the morning, go out to the bikes, and there's ice on the seats, and poor Brad and his little KTM and it have to idle for an hour before it want to run right.
No heated seat, no heated grips for him.
Yeah. I took the GS last year. Found out very quickly that's a big bike. Those guys on the YouTube, man, that make that look easy are much better riders than I am, with a lot more experience than I've got. So came back home in search of something a little smaller, maybe similar experience to what you had this time, and picked up the KTM 690. Carried it up there this year. Weather was beautiful there. I wish now that had we have been able, or had we have taken the time to look at the weather and seen how beautiful it was going to be, maybe we should have gone up a day or two earlier.
Yeah, I won't argue with that. I like that idea with the weather good, because it was good all that whole week leading up.
Yeah, it was. I wish we could have taken better advantage of that, but it thought just didn't cross my mind. I had last year stuck in my head, and the event schedule, and trying to stick to it, and hindsight's 20/20, they say, but I wish we'd have went up a little sooner and spent a few more days up there riding. But there is just miles and miles and roads of gravel and dirt and single track stuff that we haven't ventured down yet, and it was just a good time.
Yep, it was. And I had very few regrets because it was my first trip, so there wasn't a lot to regret at all, other than letting the air out of the tires. But I did regret not doing the little hill there at Buckbald or whatever it was we went up there.
Yeah,
I've almost figured if I could take a couple days and run back up there just to go up that hill, just so I could say I did it.
Heard that.
I mean, literally, I was looking at there's a couple of places over around the other house that have banks similar, And I'm thinking, that's really not that steep. I think I just let it get in my head way too much. And you did too, because we were both sitting there just, like,
Yeah, man, it was just a hill to nowhere, though.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
no,
wasn't necessary to do.
Not necessary to do, but I think, doing it, not leaving that stone unturned would have been,
Okay.
Now, if Jeremy and Brad hadn't have done it, I wouldn't have, but, Jeremy did it. It just gives him a little bragging point over me, so I can't have that next time. So,
Yeah. And don't sweat me a bit. I haven't given it another thought.
it would have been just something else, but like the water crossings we did, the first one we went, and maybe I jumped ahead here just a little bit, but what was the Whit Road? Whit Road had all the water crossings. I think we crossed the same creek 13 times. But the first one that we came to, the whole time we're going down there, we got off road and the gravel was 8 inches thick, and I'm thinking, oh God, but just the further deeper we got into the woods, the less the gravel got, and the packed dirt came about, and so I felt a little better there. But I was already kind of, I guess, a little bit on edge, and so we go down there, and I knew we were going down. I was looking at my GPS on my phone, and I could see the creeks running down, so I knew we were coming up on it. And I thought, all right, well, I'm a little nervous here. I hadn't crossed a creek in this big of a bike, and dirt bikes are different, and blah blah blah. I'm psyching myself up, and I thought, that's all right. If I need to get off in the middle of the creek and walk it out or something, I can do it. We pull up, and there's a crowd. There's a congregation.
Ain't no turning back now.
I mean, there's 14 on the left, 10 on the right, and there's 32 waiting to come across, and all them, and of course they're all on Pan Americas, and I'm like, well, I can't let that just happen right there. So Brad took off, and I'm like, I just quit thinking at that point and just hit the throttle and boom, 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 and it was very. I would equate that to the times that I've been to Grand Cayman and swam with the stingrays. It was pretty phenomenal. For the first time.
So psyched out about it is really an understatement. I guess I'd watched people on YouTube cross those creeks.
Mm-hmm.
If I watched one, I watched 101. And it was like, I think we had a conversation about it. Like, those people go across there, and I really feel like some of them just drop their bikes for the sake of creating content.
For likes and followers.
Cinematic material.
Just to get clickbait. Here's a picture of my $25,000 bike laying on its side in a creek, because we went through the first one, and it was like, well, it was easier than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And we went through the second one. Yeah, okay. There's really only that one that the rocks are slippery as shit. That I feel like really gave us any trouble. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just, because of my height. I'm 6'4" and I got landing gear, and I don't know. It really wasn't that bad.
No.
But I was totally psyched out and
if it
in my
wasn't
head
for the
about
rocks, yeah, you're right. The rocks, yeah, they were bad slippery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very unnerving.
So let's talk for a minute about, and we'll get back to that because there is more on that trail and how we come about doing that one that day. Let's talk about Friday morning. We got there Thursday afternoon. We unloaded. Jeremy got there first, kind of got situated in the house, and then we left for dinner. I was not prepared to where our leader took us when it came to the temperature-wise. Somebody thought it was wise to lead us to the tip top of Charhala Skyway.
Well,
and I think it might have been 40 degrees
we were
up
all
there.
in agreement of what was going to happen there.
You're right.
We're going to ride the Charhala.
I just was not prepared. I just was not prepared to go that high.
Okay. I don't know where you thought the Charhala went.
I thought it went around the corner.
It wasn't your first time down it.
No, I've been down it 2 or 3 times. Up, around it, over it. Yeah, whatever it goes. But are we all in agreement that it was cold?
It was pretty chilly.
I think I was all right. I think I was prepared.
You did have on your Eskimo outfit, and you were pretty good. Yeah. Brad was Brad said he didn't put on. He took his liner off of the jacket.
But he had a jacket on.
But he did have the jacket. I had my jacket on, but it was the one that's like a sift.
Right.
Like a cold air filter.
You went to ride the mountains in sundown in early spring in a mesh jacket and thought I'll be solid.
That jacket no longer exists in this household, by the way.
Really?
Does it?
Hey, you'll need that one in about a month.
I don't know. I've never worn it. I won't ever wear it again. But the Dixon jacket, shout out to Dixon Family Flannel Company, whatever they call themselves, was the bomb. And I'll be buying the padding to go in it. And since we've gotten back, Harley put their pants on sale. They're sitting right there, and we got pants now.
Okay.
So we're good.
All right.
Yeah, we're good.
You going to wear those on the new bike?
What new bike? Whatever.
I thought we were talking about a new bike.
We got some.
Harley pants on a BMW.
This was supposed to come in. This was supposed to come in the day before we left, and it delayed coming in. But I really wanted to take that.
Yeah.
That's similar to what you were telling me you wore.
A little thicker padding than what I wear, but
Yeah.
That's pretty right there.
Yeah, it is. It's
nice.
if I can wear it, with nothing, or put base layer and then put stuff on top of it.
We'd prefer you wear it with something.
The nipples would probably show if I didn't. So
that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. So it's nice and snug and covers all the joints, most of them anyway.
Nice. Yes, I'll wear a similar base layer that's padded and like it.
Yep. That's an Amazon special.
I guess I'll just stick to my cotton T-shirt as my base layer.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have any scares that I thought maybe I should have it, but I had already ordered it, and when I got back, it was here, and I thought, well, it was like $40. I'm like, nah, just leave it. Just hang on to it. Just throw it in the floor there behind you, sir.
I like the color of it, though.
I do. Do that.
KTM orange.
But yes. So anyway, Cherhala back to Tellico Plains to the, what was that? Is that the tavern?
Ironworks Grill.
Ironworks Grill. I think that is it. That's a good place. I like it. We've eaten there several times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bar food, okay, but it had a nice environment, and I enjoyed it. What'd y'all think about it?
Same.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I mean, it wasn't the place that we ate. What was it? Friday, Saturday night downtown.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that place was. We'll get there and talk about that one. I'm thoroughly impressed with that little place. They did a good job.
I mean, it's Tellico. There's not like there's that many places to eat there.
No, when the Hardee's is the main highway there with the main probably breakfast. That's kind of small.
Their biscuit maker's not friendly there.
Friendly biscuit maker when you can only see them from the waist up. That's another story, another day. All right, so we all go to the house. DJ had got us an Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
We got back, and everybody kind of sorted and situated, and nothing else kind of that night. We just piled into bed and got ready to get up the next day. And walk us through the next day, Mr. DJ.
Started with the Hardee's. Got to make the Hardee's run.
Speaking of, yeah, that's true.
Then we headed off to the campground for the pre-ride meetings to gather the routes. They always do a pretty good job of that, I guess. If you can take your phone in, you can take your GPS unit, whatever you got, carry it in there. They hook it up to the computer and drop all the maps in it for you with all their pre-planned routes, I guess. Check out the vendors that are there, and they had a pretty good turnout of vendors there this year. And then we headed out.
I enjoyed.
Got our ride on.
Yeah, I enjoyed the. At one time, I was thinking I was a little underimpressed with the campgrounds, but it was twofold, I guess. The vendors, there was actually more there than I was anticipating. Was there more there than there was the first year you went, or about the same?
About the same. There may have been a few more. The big ones that were there this year were there last year as well. So,
okay.
I don't remember anything.
I mean, there was a little bit
that stood out to me on the vendors.
I guess a little bit of I don't everything. I mean, they had helmets and coats and pants and
Well, I mean,
some of the parts and pieces that go with the ADV world.
there's this little campground in Tellico Plains, Tennessee, and Climb hauls a truck in and sets up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Well, Harley does too.
yeah.
So
And we had Climb there. You had Moscow there. You had Wunderlich
yep.
sets up. I mean, those are big names in the industry, in this segment anyway. And they
Several
were
other
set up with
local,
their product lines. So
White Lightning.
Green chili, something was there.
Yeah.
Somebody I'd never heard of.
they make all kinds of straps and
Yep. Hauling stuff.
mm-hmm.
And then they had of course, the coffee and the fire pit and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool Friday morning when we got there. I still am fairly, what's the word? When we came off the mountain from the house, I was thinking it was cold on the mountain. It'd be warm in the valley. It was 10 degrees cooler in the valley down there. It was really odd. I was not expecting that. But we did get over the campgrounds like DJ said. And I don't know, campground was, I don't know what full looks like or what empty looks, I don't know what empty looks like, but what full, but it looked pretty crowded.
There was a lot of people there.
Yeah.
That's a big event.
If that's the only world you live in.
And it kind of it's like Daytona. It kind of starts the season off. Most of the roads up there are just beginning to open up for the spring.
Right.
And it kicks off the ADV rally season. So, people have been cooped up at home and anxious to get out and about and get going. And it was a beautiful weekend for it. So,
my God, the weather was fantastic.
I mean, what were we? Lows in 55, 60 range, highs at 70, 75.
Yep. It hit 80 a little bit, maybe Saturday, I think. But yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, that part of the world up there is a big ADV world. You're in the mountains, so you get a lot of that. No sponsorship from White Lightning here, but we'll give them a little plug. They're a big ADV, involvement up there. They sell a lot of gear, and from what I understand, they're one of the top PA sellers in the country.
Yeah.
But so probably is Smoky Mountain Harley and some others that are kind of in that area. Yeah. So anyway, so after that we kind of went out and Jeremy, do you remember where we went Friday? Where our rides took us? What roads we were on?
No, I don't remember exactly.
That was what they called the Rooster, wasn't it? Was it the Rooster or the
Did we
Cocky?
Well, we were going to do the Rooster, and then I don't know. One of the routes was 97 miles or something like that. I think we did part of it and then branched off from it.
I got you.
But there's just
That's
so
right.
many routes up there you could ride for days,
And some of them do bleed over on each other based on the maps
They
that
do.
I saw,
Yeah.
because I was able to look at them on my OnX Road map, app, and they do bleed over. So, like, if you went Route A, and it was 100 miles, and then you went Route B, well, Route B may be part of that 100 and then another 80.
That's right.
Or what? Because there were a couple of routes that were long. Like, I'm talking 160, 170 miles on gravel and rough road. That's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it definitely got me thinking too, like, and I'm not afraid to ride, but, it's one of those situations you're so far out from people that you definitely probably, like, if I went back, I would do a buddy ride for sure. Like, I wouldn't want to be 30 miles into a forest and, have something happen and, be out there with no cell phone service, and it'd be a hard fetch for anybody to come get you.
Yeah, I would. I'd certainly recommend anybody planning to do something like this. If you don't have buddies that you ride with, and go on one of these rally weekends, because that's probably the only time that I can imagine. There's a lot of traffic coming down those roads. If something was to happen, there's going to be a bike by shortly. But I when it's not an event happening on a random Tuesday or Wednesday, I doubt there's a whole lot of traffic.
It could get pretty
Agreed.
lonely up there, that far off in the woods.
Yeah,
For the
and
breakdown.
you are off in the woods, and I don't know about y'all, but my phone didn't work worth shit all weekend. So,
Negative.
Yeah, the whole satellite
Limited
connection,
communication.
Apple, that was BS. I think I received one text message and sent one via satellite, and that was it.
mhm.
Not that satellite was, readily available either, but not to be able to do. But the day that we were up there and went around to, we actually, the four of us got separated for a little while. There was no service, and we were pretty deep in there. But
Yeah.
I did notice that a lot, like we talked about, some of those routes sharing roads, some of those, if not all of them, crisscross at some point or another, 68 or Churhala or different roads up there. So you're really not on off road the entirety of unless it's a smaller ride. You're going to cross over a major highway at some point.
Mm-hmm.
At least it appeared.
Yeah.
I know riding all those trails up there, like, you guys know that I'm planning the Alaska trip or whatever, and I've already got my checklist of things that, you need to do that. But even on all those roads up there, like, one of the things that I was thinking about was, man, I really probably should have put one of those moto pumps in my bike. That would be something good to have. And whenever we got separated, there was 2 or 3 guys come rolling up on us, and one of them had a pinch flat on the front, and he was like, y'all are on bigger ADVs. Do you have a pump? And I was like, no, but I bet I will after this trip.
Mm-hmm.
So good investment, great tool to add to the toolkit on a bike, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like riding the touring bikes that we do. There are a few necessities. You can't take everything, but there's a few necessity and tools of things that I figure Mike could use if something were to happen. This is what's probably going to happen. If anything major happens, I'm not breaking the engine down on the side of the road anyway. So, if a chain breaks, well, I'm probably not messing with that anyway. But if it slips off, or if a tire goes flat, or I don't know, something minor, of course, tire going flat's not minor, but some of that stuff can be fixed. But it's you can't take everything. You just try to throw in a couple things that you feel like you could use. Should a few things happen.
Well, and if you got 3 people riding, all of you take something that all of you could use.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yes.
way one person's not being the pack mule.
Yeah, that's DJ and I have done that on a few trips we've been on. We've he'll tell me, hey, I'm bringing this, and I'll be like, I'm bringing this, and try to not double up on anything. We don't want 5 wire pliers and 6 air compressors or whatever. So
Right.
I've got a little cigarette lighter air pump that I throw in there along with a little toolkit, and then like I said, he's got the battery. What do you call that thing?
Booster.
Yeah. Thingy. So that thing works good. But anyway, all right. So Friday we did a lot of riding. We wound up Friday afternoon back at the Ironworks Grill to chill out, some appetizers, and then went back to the campground for a little while. What did we do after that?
From there,
Is that the day
we
we
didn't
rode?
ride anymore.
Did we go to Buckbald that day?
I think that's the day we went to Buck Bald.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Because that was a short trip. That was just down 68 back towards whatever that little town is.
We went and watched sunset at Buckbald.
Yeah, that's what it was. I do have pictures of that here somewhere.
Nice view up there. Decent little ride. Nothing too spectacular.
Met a very nice couple. She seemed nice. He seemed like an alcoholic.
They may have taken a couple of pictures. He may have taken several hundred. I'm not sure. I was trying to find some of the pictures that that there's. That's on my GoPro or my Insta360. But there's some of the pictures there. I'll throw some of these up on the video part. But yeah, there was
Well, she was saying
some pretty good footage there.
She was taking our picture, and the whole time he was just like snapping pictures. So like, if in any of the pictures I look like I'm cross-eyed, I didn't know where the hell to look.
Yeah, I mean, and he talked as if he was a professional photographer, but I never believed for once that he was. So
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, no, it was all good. So we came down off of Buckbald, went by the house and grabbed a jacket. Randy did because he didn't. Didn't feel like a sweatshirt was good enough. And then we went to what was the name of that place?
Peach Street.
Peach,
I think that's
Peach
it.
Street Grill.
It was fantastic. I I think everything that I saw them
I give
bring
it a
out.
10.
Oh yeah.
Y'all stuff was good. My stuff was good.
Yep. The ambiance, the environment. There was bikers there. There were locals there. There were other travelers that were there. They had an inside and outside. Yeah, it was good in there. But you left, and so we went back over there again. We couldn't really think of anything any better, so we just went back again.
Y'all
Yeah,
couldn't get
it's
enough
kind
of
of
it.
one of those things. Like,
If it ain't
you
broke,
know what
don't
you're going to
fix it.
get.
Well, I mean, if you've had the best,
And it was good.
You don't want the rest.
No sense in risking, getting let down somewhere else.
Nope.
I
And they had a good drink menu. They had I was gonna
Cold
see if I
beer.
could. Oh, they did have they definitely had cold. Let's see.
You got that one drink that came out that looked like a pile of fruit in a cup with a splash of
Got a blackberry.
liquor.
Oh my goodness! They had the it's gonna turn on me. If you're not watching us and you're just listening, we're trying to get it up on the iPad here. Okay, so let's see, cause
They should have brought you a fork to eat your cocktail with.
see, this is a different menu than what we had up there that day because we had something with some raspberries in it. Brad and I did. What'd you have?
I don't remember.
Miller,
kind of mule.
Miller Lite.
You had some kind of
probably
mule.
not.
I did, and I had that as well, and the food was well prepared, and the environment was good. So yeah, it was a good place. Lots of just kind of chilling, relaxing, enjoying. Lots of place to park bikes, so that wasn't a problem.
Definitely a gym in Tellico Plains.
Top notch. I give it 2 thumbs up.
Agreed. If you ever go to Tellico Plains, just passing through, whether you're on a motorcycle or 4 wheels, Peach Street Grill is a place to stop in and see it. So, all right. So Friday night we go back to the house. And then Saturday night we went back over there. Saturday we watched a little bit of basketball.
Yeah.
Very disappointing.
Watched Alabama take the dub or the L or
Yeah, the big L. They got their fanny spanked.
yeah.
And then got up the next morning, a little sprinkly. Actually, we loaded up the night before, pretty good bit. And then that morning, we just kind of had to throw a few things on, and we headed on out. And it rained most all the way home.
We did stop at the Telly Cafe for breakfast on the way out. It was pretty good.
We did. It was.
How
good.
big was that pancake you got?
I would say it was probably easily fit on a 10-inch plate.
Okay.
I wanted to eat it all. I mean, I kind of come pretty close, but it was good. It was good.
If you can eat a 10-inch pancake, you can ride a bigger bike than a 310.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. That's a lot of cake and pan. I mean, I just felt it was necessary to have a pancake since I was on the Pan America for that trip.
See what you did there.
Okay, just checking in.
See what you did there. Okay.
All right, so let's start on the end down there where Jeremy J.J. Johnson sits. What was a couple of highlights for you, brother? And
Jeremy's first time there without knowing what to expect. What's your takeaways?
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, it was...
Any negatives as well?
I don't know, man. I could talk about this for hours because, I've ridden dirt bikes and bikes pretty much all my life, but this was a whole new experience. It was a lot of fun. I really wish that I could attend one of those or something like it about every 2 weeks somewhere, anywhere. Not saying I'd give up road riding, but it is definitely enjoyable. Lots of fun. Great people. Didn't run into any assholes, I don't think, the whole time. Seems like that world is, they're about riding bikes. It's not necessarily, hey, just look at my bike and look what it does or look what it looks like or whatever. But no, just a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm not a big gear guy, so I don't rep a lot of stuff. Don't get into a lot of that. I'm kind of old school and just kind of simple. But it's a big world out there. As much money as you want to spend, you can, or you can spend a little bit and just show up with what you got and ride and still have a good time and just have a blast. There, I don't know. Several of the talking about my bike, and I took the KTM, the 1290 up there, and I thought it did good. Didn't get off any single track stuff, but it's definitely a big bike. Of course, I had Motos tires on the back, and TKC 80s on the front. Grip was fine. He's on there, and I think that's a good choice. Doing any kind of BDR stuff or any kind of thing like that. I think that's a good choice. You need some tires with grip.
So would it be a legit statement to say that there was a time when we pulled up to one of those little concrete walls that DJ saved your ass?
Well,
I mean, that's fairly literal.
It didn't fall over. I did scream like a little girl there for a second because I was rolling the bike backwards, and the 1290 is a tall bike. I'm a tall guy, but it's a tall bike and it's top heavy. And
you came over that where the ground was lower than where your wheels were sitting.
Yeah, and I was rolling it back and trying to turn the handlebars, and I did kind of get a little bit off, and I started hollering. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And luckily, DJ was right behind me. And about the time that I got over to the tipping point, I felt these big, strong arms come
these
up and
jiu-jitsu hands
Guns.
throwed some hands at the rear end of that bike and stood it up.
But no, everything was good. And like I said, the whole tire debate, I don't know, we've talked tires so much, but there comes a point to where it really doesn't matter what kind of tire you're running. It's still a motorcycle. You're only going to have so much traction on so many conditions. So I don't know.
I mean, that's one of those things where you take one bike in a perfect world. All right. You take one bike and 2 or 3 sets of tires, or you take 2 or 3 bikes.
Yeah. And I run the 1290. I run the 1290 in off-road mode with all the settings off, and of course it detunes it. But like I think online they say pretty much anything off-road, anything over 60 horsepower off-road is unusable power anyway. And I think there's some truth to that. But I did make the trip and then come home and buy another bike. Got a 525, 60 horse, 230 pounds, 4-stroke. And I think whenever we go back and do it again, I'm going to take 2 bikes, have a little bit more fun and be able to throw it around a little bit, manipulate it a little bit more.
Well, if we're all going to have one of those light bikes, if that ever comes about, then one day we'll choose to maybe do something a little more risque.
Yeah.
Some of those. I don't know that I would ever want to get on a single track. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
I would if I take the 525. I mean, because it's small. It's like a bicycle.
But some of those roads that kind of took off of what I would call the main road that we were on, some of those little, I call them fire lane roads and things like that, I definitely wouldn't be afraid to take it up, some of those roads.
Yeah. Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Pan America is a great bike. GS, like DJ's bike, 1250 is a great bike. The 1290, like I got, they're all 3 great bikes. However, they are not a dirt bike. Do not make the mistake that they are a dirt bike, because they're not.
I mean, some of these guys fling them around like they are, but these guys have been riding those style bikes for years. And Jeremy, you and I have been riding for years and lots of our life, and but not consistently the same bike. These guys ride the same bike day in, day out, and do tricks with it and things that I wouldn't even begin to think, because 1, I don't have to, 2, I don't need to, 2, 3, whatever. It's just I'm not there. But I'm like DJ talked about YouTube earlier. I've watched so many of these guys, a couple of Asian guys on there that they barely can touch the foot pegs on the Pan America when they get on it, much less the ground.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the Asian guy on the
but they can handle it.
Beamer doing
they
that
just
too.
They'll leave it, lean it over, press the front brake, throttle it around when they want to turn it around.
Yeah.
Just all the easy stuff.
I don't know. I guess my biggest take on it was, what I was talking about before. Like, if tires are, and I just keep referring back to the tires, but like for knobby tires, if you got to have knobby tires on a big ADV bike, then to be in that kind of a situation, then you're riding the wrong bike for the situation
Yeah.
type of riding that you're in. I don't know.
I think we were right on the
we were right on the cusp.
the cusp. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to say
we
that. I
were
think
right
we
on
were
the
right on the
cusp.
edge of what we
Because we
should
knew
have
better
been
than
riding.
to go down, the really tight single track stuff that's, like a horse trail.
Yeah.
So
We've actually went on some diverse trails. I mean, we had the asphalt, we had the hard packed dirt roads. They were with lots of gravel.
yeah,
There were some with that were pretty rough. I mean, the ruts and washouts were pretty rugged, and then of course the creek crossings and all of that. So we were pretty diverse, but I felt like we maintained what we were all capable of doing, and we didn't venture out of that comfort zone. DJ mentioned year before last when he went that there were some stuff, and I won't, if you can chime in here because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there were some things that he didn't do. He only had the 1250 GS, and his friends had a Tenere. Was it a Tenere and the 890 or something?
No, Sean was on a Husky 501,
Okay, yeah,
which is similar in size to what Jeremy just bought. Brad was on his 890 Rally. So yeah, they headed off some trails, and I was like, I just don't know that the 1250's what I want to be wrestling down that road.
yeah. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I
I mean,
agree.
it's a great bike, but I wouldn't want to. I just wouldn't want to.
I mean, there's guys that do it, and maybe I'll get there one day, but I'm not there right now. Yeah, we were sitting. We were sitting waiting on them. They had headed off down a trail, and there were some guys that came by, and I figured out who that guy was.
Okay. He's the one we thought looked familiar.
Yeah, he runs a off-road training school.
Okay.
His name just left but I knew he looked familiar.
Okay.
And he came around the corner,
Yeah.
basically drifting that GS around corners. If you're that comfortable with it, then there's probably nothing up there that it can't do. But I'm not there. And I think that's, what a lot of this is going to boil down to when you start talking about bikes. It's whatever your comfort level is. Jeremy buying the 525 and saying, I'm going to go up there and ride it. Well, that's great. It's not really something I want to do.
Yeah.
It's a little buzzy. Well, I haven't ridden his, but I'm speaking on that. Generally, a smaller bike like that's going to be a little buzzy for me. I'm not going to enjoy it on the pavement. And I'm willing to, maybe to give up some of the fun off-road to have the bigger bike that's a little more fun or enjoyable on the road. Like, you got to find that balance. I think I can speak for Randy in saying that if I was going to go, full-blown dirt bike, a 250, 350, two-stroke, whatever, then I would be interested in doing that. Mm-hmm. But I'd want to take it to an OHV park or something and trailer it up there, and then I'm just running this, 2-mile trail, and then we're going to stop and have a sandwich and chill out a minute, and then we'll run this other 2-mile trail and balls to the walls it for a little while, and then we're done. I'd probably be more interested in doing something like that than carrying one of those bikes to Tellico Plains and, ripping it around up there where you're on pavement for 10 minutes and then you're on gravel for an hour and then you're on, a combination of dirt and creek crossings for 2 hours or, whatever. There's a big mixture up there is my point. It's not for me, but that doesn't mean that it's not for Jeremy.
Sure.
He may be fine with the.
I like the buzzing.
Yeah. So
the one that sounds like a swarm of bees. Just
and there's plenty of people that do love that. That's their thing. It just.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about what is it, and we've said this for years since we've been doing these, got into the bikes and became riding friends. And there's 2 or 3 of us that are not here tonight that we ride with. But we've said it all along. You got to pick what fits you, whatever that looks like, and then master it the best you can and enjoy it. and I say this and not in arrogance at all. Good Lord knows my heart, but you've got several bikes. Jeremy's got several bikes. I've got several bikes. And to be honest with you, it's hard to master any of them because we don't ride just one of them all the time. If we all sold everything but one bike,
we'd probably get really good.
We could probably get really good on that one bike. My son that's graduating college this year, we've been having some conversations. He's ready to start talking ride. He wants to ride. It's not happening tomorrow, but he knows that's in his future. So I told him, I said, well, I'm going to tell you the best thing to do. One, you've got to take the course, blah, blah. That's not even a question. We talked about that for a few minutes. I said, the other thing is go find a cheap bicycle, a mountain bike, and get familiar with two wheels again. You say, well, it's not the same as a motorcycle. No, I didn't say it was the same as a motorcycle. But the ergonomics and the scientifics, whatever the words that I'm trying to find to use right now as far as the lean, the turn, and how it is ridden are similar. Mm-hmm. So he could get used to that, going fast, pedaling, and then, turning a curve or turning it around in the cul-de-sac without laying. Well, it's easy to do a bicycle. Well, maybe. I've seen kids scrape their knees a many times because they can't keep one up. Mine did it when they were little. Mm-hmm. So, it's something that still has to be learned, but I think it's a process. And then from there, you just work your way up until you find something that you like, or in our case, you find several you like. And then, if there's one that we want to, if we wanted to find that one where we went to the dirts, the single tracks, the OHV, is that what you said? Mm-hmm. Parks or whatever, hey, if we've got them, let's take them up here and do it. And let's do what you do on those, tracks. I'm not going to disagree that going somewhere like Tellico Plains is, I would want to go solely on a 310, 450 or a smaller bike. I would only want to take that if I had something like the PA to go as well.
Which is what, I did when we were up there. It was,
yes.
All right, if we're done with the quote unquote riding for the day, or the unknown trails, exploring trails, whatever, then I'm going to take the 690 back to the house and I'm going to get on the 1250.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll ride to dinner. And that's what I'll ride. I rode it up to Buckball because we knew that's going to be, it's just a big gravel road.
Right.
And Brad, sure enough, he sent that thing too up the hill, didn't he?
He did. He did.
Front wheel may have come off the ground. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like what I've got right now between the 1250 and the 690 suits me in every scenario. Could I be talked into buying a dirt bike if we were going to go dirt biking? Absolutely, I could be. But
I will start sending you deals on Marketplace after this podcast, DJ.
Here's my thing about the actual kind of dirt bike thing. I've thought about it since we've been kind of talking and discussing the ADV world for the last year. I don't want to. I'm interested, but I don't have enough time to ride what I want to ride now. Throwing some other type ride in there is just I don't want to make time for it.
Well, the thing about
I doubt I'll wind up with a small dirt bike style.
I guess for me, the thing about the Moto Madness is you could kind of, there's several different rides you can ride up there. And, whether it's a big ADV or, sure enough, smaller dirt bike style or thumper or whatever, there's a lot of different avenues you could take. That's kind of the reason I bought the 525. Because I think, if I went back and done an event like that again, I like DJ, I'd take two bikes, of course, but, I think I'm going to venture more towards the off-road portion of it. I don't know. 525, like I said, I think it'll be for what limited segments, to the next trail or whatever. I mean, I didn't buy it to ride on the road. Just tagged it so if I did get pulled over, they wouldn't give me a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they could at least, if they see it in passing, they see some sort of a resemblance of
it almost looks legal.
Registration, right?
Yeah, it almost looks legal.
Well, I really enjoyed it. DJ, wanted me to go last year, but had not bought the PA and didn't really have any means to go. And to be honest with you, at the time I wasn't interested. But since I did buy the PA and this year, and I was like, well, I might as well go and see what this is all about. I enjoyed it. I will go back, or I would go to another type rally of that magnitude, of that style, and enjoy it. At the end of the day, I told John Woody, if I told him once, I told him 2 or 3 times during the course of before we went, after we got back, that in the end, it was 2 wheels. And I desire to be on 2 wheels riding as much as I can. So, I had no complaints.
Yeah, it's motorcycle shit with your motorcycle friends.
It is. And let me ask you guys a question. Take all the people you would see in Daytona or Panama City at those typical rallies, Bike Week, Biketoberfest, Thunder Beach, and then the guys we've seen up there. Any difference in the people? Caliber, type, character, looking, whatever, anything, any different? Just
it's a different breed. I mean, their heart might all be in the same place, but I mean, in my opinion, it's still bikers, but they're a different breed. Like, they're not tatted up and wearing leather. They're got skull cans and camouflage and.
Do you find it to be a little more redneckish and hillbillyish?
Yeah, but I mean, that's my people. They're playing the
that's
song.
Not. Yeah, that's not a ding. I'm just saying. That's Like I've always heard, like the rallies in Daytona, Panama City, and Sturgis, and whatever you want to name them all. You may have a doctor. You may have billionaires that ride up, and you don't know because they're just on a.
Yeah.
And we ride. We've got friends and family that ride with us in these places, and they look just like us when they're there. But we're nothing alike when it comes to the checkbook. So,
well, and we were talking the other day and talking about Sturgis, and you think of Sturgis being cruisers and Harleys and leather and all that, but like at the rally up there, they got the BMW dealer, they got the KTM dealer that's there setting up, and there's people from all walks of life that go to Sturgis too. And like I said, it don't matter what you ride, just ride.
I would have to say that out of all the rallies I've been to a few, and there's still a lot I want to go to, that Sturgis probably had the most diverse. And Arizona, even though I haven't been out there for the rally, I've been out there 2 years in a row riding. It's a 6-4, 60-40 ratio of seeing street bikes versus, some sort of off-road bike.
Yeah.
Because the off-road out there is so popular.
Yeah. I'm thinking if we go back, I think I'm going to take the KTM because there's some great roads out there that I could really.
There is.
Really.
If I was loading up in the morning to go to Sturgis, I'm taking the GS.
Well, I've ridden it on the Harley and ridden all the Nemo Road and
Iron Mountain, all of them.
Spearfish Canyon and all those, and it's fun. It's fun on a big bike. I mean, you can lay into it and all that, but it would be a lot more fun on a different bike.
Well, on the style bike that you're referencing, one because of the horsepower ability, and one because of it being lighter.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So it would bring a little bit more nimbleness to the ride, and I think it would allow, because there were guys that like on the Tail of the Dragon, no matter if you're on a big touring Harley, you're on the Tail of the Dragon, you are, or even on the Chihuahua Skyway, you're getting passed by some crotch rockets at some point. So I guess that would be a similar comparison, riding those type bikes out there. If you, needed to zip around a 4 or 5 group of, 900-pound touring bikes, you could.
Yeah. Which is, it's not about the, seeing how fast I can ride it or,
it's not.
No, it's
I'm just teasing.
It's just a different ride. It is. It's just enjoying a different experience.
So if you could take both bikes, right? Is that I don't know that we've got enough trailers for everybody to take two.
If I could take both the Harley and the big KTM, yeah, I'd take them both. But if I could only take one bike, this year I would probably take the ADV.
So if we all three took the GS, the Pan American, the KTM,
I would be there in a heartbeat.
and John and
ride the piss.
John and Chris would have to take because they don't have, so they would have to take their touring bikes. And
I mean, that'd be fine. I mean, we might get to a point to where, like what we were talking about, to where, if gun to your head, what bike are you keeping? You got to sell everything else, and you end up saying, all right, I'm gonna keep the Mako. DJ's like, I'm gonna keep the GS. We might get to a point to where, shit, I may be riding a dirt bike.
Yeah.
You're gonna be riding a Harley.
Uh-huh.
DJ's riding a metric bike
Mm-hmm.
from Germany, and we're going to look like the wild hogs going down the road. But we're all going to be happy, and we're going to have our knees in the breeze and enjoying,
We started this conversation talking about Brad's MV Agusta that he just got. So he called me a couple weekends ago. He's still in his break-in period on this bike, right? Mm-hmm. And he called me and said, hey, I need to put some miles on this bike. What are you doing today? I was like, I'm not doing anything. All right, well, I'm going to call Joe, see what Joe's doing, and then let's get together and go ride. And so he ends up coming to my house and meeting me. And I was in the mood to ride the Limited.
Okay,
so I got on the Limited. He's on his MV Agusta. We go meet up with our buddy Joe, who's got the Ducati Desert X. So he's on big adventure bike, or mid-size adventure bike. I think it's like a 900cc or something. But and we headed off and went down Highway 25 and Leeds. And we stopped talking to some guys. And I mean, it was just a weird.
Y'all were a
weird combination there.
Motley crew of
right.
Motley crew.
Yeah.
Right. So no, it's all good. We had a good time. We swapped bikes for a little bit. I got some pictures of Brad on the Limited. That was interesting.
Well, you were trying to get him to ride it. What did you think? I mean, I see he didn't go buy one real quick. So.
Yeah, he hadn't bought one yet. I don't guess if he did, he hadn't shared it with me. But his words were, I can see the appeal. It's very comfortable.
Yeah.
It's very heavy. But he had never experienced anything with the torque as low in the RPM range as they produce. So,
right.
He kind of dug that, I guess. But I think the comfort overall was probably what surprised him more than anything. Because, I've got everything on that bike is stretched out as far as you can stretch it for me.
Yeah.
And he's not as big as I am. And, 14-inch apes on it. So, he'd probably never ridden anything close to, he thinks forward controls are weird. So
I imagine it had to have been at least a little bit awkward for him the first time he sat down in the seat and went out to make, his first left or right hand turn.
Yeah. So we had ridden, we rode 25 back, and then we went to Barber's to see if there was anything going on at Barber's, and that's where we swapped at. So he just kind of, rode it around the parking lot a little bit, and we're like, all right, everybody's good. All right. And we took off down Rex Lake. Yeah, that was a good time. Rode it all the way into Mountain Brook.
It's, you've made mention of this numerous times, DJ, in our conversations about the bigger bikes. Yes, they're heavy, but they're low profile for the most part, and they can lull you to comfort and really getting used to them, because they, unless you're slow and walking it around in the parking lot. I mean, you get on interstate doing 85, you can let go of the bars and have a snack if you need to. Mm-hmm. It's going to handle itself. So yeah, you can get comfortable easily on one of those. We've done it many times, and I'm sure that's something that Brad probably hasn't experienced, but maybe he will one day.
Big bikes definitely have their place, and like big cruisers, like for me, my take on that, I love my Harley, but its place is not seeing how fast I can go around curves. It's built for the road. Like if I want to run 80 or 90 and be comfortable and eat potato chips and have all the wind protection and feel like I'm in a two-wheel Buick, that's
an Oldsmobile 88.
That's what I'm going to take,
Well, it's, again, I go back to saying it's motorcycle shit with your motorcycle friends, and it's fun. I enjoy it. All right. So, our next venture, the next podcast, we're going to break some news, to everyone. So stay tuned. Yes, we're not going to disclose it now, but we kind of have, put for the most part, we've got some things in the works for later in the year. We're going to kind of disclose the plans and kind of start talking and gearing towards that. We're waiting on one other piece of this puzzle to come together and hoping that happens this week. And then maybe we can get everybody together at least for one episode to talk about it, along with some other things and topics that we've got coming up. Look, we're still doing a lot of motorcycle stuff because that's kind of what this thing was founded and grounded on. But we talk about anything, church, family, politics. I will dive off into it. I don't care. So we'll get into some other stuff. Lots of things have changed since the beginning of the year as far as kind of how we're directing this. We were trying to put out one every week, and it just got to be a lot more work and effort than really any of us had time for. So now we're shooting for at least one every 2 weeks. There may be a time where two come out in 1 week. I don't know, but we'll figure it all out. But in the end, we're going to do as much as we can, have as much fun with it as we can, and for the most part, we're just here to enjoy. So, guys, any last words about March Moto Madness 2025?
No,
if
put
you
it
get
on
the
your
chance
calendar
to
next year.
go. Don't miss it, because it's a lot of fun.
Yep. What does it say? Don't sleep on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on it.
It'll be good.
Don't let your buddies go and you not go, and then they come back and tell you how good a time that they had, because you'll wish you'd have went.
I will say that if next year rolls around and the good Lord's hasn't come back, we're all still here, and the weather's good, I would say add another couple of days to that, just to get in some more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Some more of those back roads. I'll tell you one of the things. I enjoyed the riding. All right, don't get me wrong, but I will tell you that each time we stopped to have a snack or a drink or whatever, just listening to that, where there was just nothing but the forest, and we chatted with each other, and had a snack or whatever, and it was just, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The busyness of life and work and was just nowhere to be found for about 72 hours or so there, and I just enjoyed that.
It was actually good not having any phone service. I mean, it was.
I ain't gonna lie, that was good.
Peaceful.
That was good. That's one thing about going to these regular, I guess I call them regular rallies that we go to, that still frustrates me at times. And DJ and I share this joy and yet frustration at the same time, and owning your own business, is that we really never get away from it. But I will say, there was many times up there where I couldn't get service, and I was like, oops. Oh well.
They'll figure it out.
They'll have to.
Not today, guys.
Yep, that's it. We're enjoying it. God bless you. Don't forget to say kind words to somebody. Don't forget God loves you. Take care. God bless.